one of the messiest rap-related dramas of the year. What started as a personal dispute between Sauce Walka and his baby mama has now pulled Drake's name back into the spotlight, and fans are wondering whether this situation is about to turn into something much bigger. The reason everyone is paying attention isn't just because Sauce Walka dropped a diss record. It's because 50 Cent, one of the most influential trolls and strategists in hip-hop history, publicly showed love to the song. And whenever 50 starts paying attention to something, people know there's usually another layer to the story. The drama exploded after Sauce Walka's baby mama appeared in interviews discussing her past connection with Drake. During those conversations, she painted Drake in an extremely positive light, claiming he treated her better than anyone else in her life, and even helped her financially when she needed support. But what really caught people's attention was her claim that nearly every argument she had with Sauce Walka somehow came back to Drake. According to her, Drake's name constantly came up during their disputes, suggesting that whatever happened between them left a much deeper impact than anyone realized. That alone would have been enough to create headlines, but Sauce Walka wasn't about to stay silent. Instead of issuing a simple response online, he did what rappers often do when they are frustrated. He went straight to the studio. Within days, he released a track called Baby Mama Drama, turning the entire situation into music. The record quickly gained attention because listeners immediately connected certain lyrics to Drake. Sauce didn't exactly hold back, either. He openly referenced issues involving money, relationships, and the emotional fallout surrounding the entire situation, making it clear that he wanted his side of the story heard. As clips from the song spread across social media, fans began debating who was actually being targeted. Some believed the track was aimed mostly at his baby mama. Others felt Drake was clearly catching indirect shots throughout the record. Either way, the song was generating exactly what Sauce Walka wanted: attention. But then something happened that pushed the controversy to another level. 50 Cent heard the record, posted himself listening to it, and suddenly the entire internet shifted its focus. Because when 50 Cent publicly co-signs a song connected to Drake drama, people start asking questions. Is he just enjoying the music? Is he trolling? Or is there a deeper message behind the post? Those questions would soon turn a personal dispute into one of the most talked about hip-hop conversations online. One reason this situation blew up so fast is because of who 50 Cent is. In hip-hop, a repost from 50 isn't just a repost. It's a statement. Whether he's joking, trolling, supporting, or simply entertaining himself, people immediately start reading between the lines. That's exactly what happened when he uploaded a video of himself on a private jet listening to Sauce Walka's Baby Mama Drama. Fans noticed something interesting right away. 50 didn't just casually play the song. He appeared to know large portions of the lyrics, rapping along like it had already become part of his playlist. That single video sent social media into detective mode. Some fans argued that 50 was clearly taking Sauce Walka's side. Others insisted he simply related to the song because of his own long history of public disputes involving baby mama drama. And to be fair, 50 has never been shy about discussing those situations. Over the years, he's turned personal conflicts into social media content, interviews, jokes, and sometimes even business opportunities. So when he heard a song built around that exact topic, many people believed he was connecting with the message rather than attacking Drake. The problem is that Drake's fans weren't buying that explanation so easily. Over the past year, Drake has made it clear that loyalty matters to him. Following multiple rap feuds and industry conflicts, fans have become extremely sensitive to anyone appearing to support music that takes shots at him. In their minds, it doesn't matter if the main focus of the song is baby mama drama. If Drake catches a stray lyric and you're publicly promoting the track, some people will automatically assume you've chosen a side. That's where the comments section exploded. Fans immediately started posting warnings. Some joked that Drake would see the post and feel disrespected. Others suggested that 50 was intentionally stirring the pot because he understands exactly how the internet works. And then there were those who pointed out something important. 50 Cent and Drake have generally shown mutual respect over the years. They've never had major public issues. In fact, 50 has often praised Drake's success and business instincts. But that's what makes this situation so interesting. Because 50 doesn't need to directly attack someone to create chaos. He understands social media better than almost anyone in entertainment. He knows that a simple video can generate thousands of headlines. He knows people will analyze every song choice, every caption, and every repost. And according to many fans, that's exactly what happened here. As the conversation grew bigger, Sauce Walka noticed the attention too. Instead of staying quiet, he immediately embraced it. He reposted 50's video, thanked him for the support, and even suggested that 50 should jump on a remix. Suddenly, what started as a baby mama dispute wasn't just about Sauce Walka anymore. Now fans were imagining a scenario where one of hip-hop's biggest trolls might officially become part of the story. As soon as 50 Cent reposted the song, Sauce Walka knew he had a golden opportunity. Most artists would have simply thanked 50 and moved on. Sauce did the exact opposite. He immediately turned the cosign into a bigger moment, reposting 50's video across his own social media pages and openly campaigning for a remix. That's when fans realized Sauce wasn't interested in letting this drama die down anytime soon. In fact, Sauce seemed energized by the attention. The more people talked about the situation, the more content he put out. He continued defending himself online, continued taking shots at his critics, and continued insisting that he wasn't taking any losses in the public battle. To him, this wasn't a crisis, it was promotion. Every interview, every repost, every reaction video was helping push the song further into the conversation. Then came the post that really got people talking. Sauce referred to the track as a real player's anthem and directly called for a 50 Cent remix. That one move completely changed how fans viewed the situation. Before, people could argue that 50 was simply enjoying a song. Now, Sauce was actively trying to recruit him into the narrative. And if 50 ever decided to actually jump on the record, the entire story would instantly become 10 times bigger. The reason is simple. 50 Cent has a unique reputation in hip-hop. He doesn't enter situations halfway. If he decides to participate, he usually does it in a way that guarantees headlines. Fans started imagining what a remix would sound like. Would 50 take direct shots at anyone? Would he mention Drake? Would he turn the song into a comedy record? Or would he simply use it as another opportunity to troll the internet? Meanwhile, Drake's supporters were growing increasingly uncomfortable. From their perspective, Sauce Walka wasn't just making music anymore. He was building a coalition. First came the interviews. Then the song. Then the social media clips. Now one of the biggest names in rap history was publicly showing support. Even if none of it was directly aimed at Drake, the optics weren't great. What made things even more interesting was the timing. Drake has spent the last year dealing with non-stop public scrutiny, rap beefs, internet jokes, and endless discussions about loyalty. Because of that, fans started wondering how he would react if this situation continued growing. Would he ignore it completely? Would he laugh it off? Or would he eventually respond if enough people kept attaching his name to the controversy? The internet, of course, had already made its decision. Every repost, every lyric, and every caption was being treated like evidence in a much larger case. Suddenly people weren't just discussing Sauce Walka's baby mama drama anymore. They were debating friendships, alliances, industry politics, and whether 50 Cent was quietly sending a message without ever having to say Drake's name. And knowing 50, that possibility alone was enough to keep everyone watching. What makes this entire situation so fascinating is that nobody actually knows how Drake feels about it. He hasn't issued a public response. He hasn't posted a cryptic message. He hasn't jumped on Instagram Live to address the allegations. Yet somehow, his name continues dominating the conversation. And according to fans, that silence might be the loudest part. Over the last year, Drake has shown that he's paying attention to everything happening around him. Every diss record, every social media jab, every industry cosign, every public opinion. That's why some fans believe there's almost no chance he hasn't seen what's unfolding between Sauce Walka, his baby mama, and now 50 Cent. The question isn't whether Drake knows. The question is whether he cares. Some observers believe Drake is too focused on larger issues to waste time responding. After all, he's one of the biggest artists in the world. He's survived major rap wars, industry criticism, and countless online controversies. Compared to those situations, a song about baby mama drama may barely register on his radar. Others completely disagree. They point out that Drake has always paid close attention to loyalty. Over the years, he's made it clear that he watches who supports him, who criticizes him, and who chooses to stay neutral. That's why some fans believe 50 Cent's involvement could be more significant than people realize. Not because 50 attacked Drake. Because he didn't. Not because 50 insulted Drake. Because he didn't. But because perception matters. And perception is exactly what social media thrives on. Once fans started seeing 50 enjoying a record that many interpreted as containing shots at Drake, the narrative began writing itself. Suddenly, people weren't asking whether Drake was involved. They were asking how Drake felt about the people involved. That's a very different conversation. Then there is the Adam 22 factor, which Sauce Walka also referenced during several of his public comments. Sauce appeared frustrated by outsiders discussing his personal business, and repeatedly suggested that people were speaking on situations they didn't fully understand. According to him, many of the online narratives were missing critical context. That only made the situation messier. Because once multiple personalities, interviews, podcasts, and social media clips become involved, controlling the story becomes almost impossible. Every person adds their own version. Every fan creates their own theory. Every repost creates a new headline. And before long, the original issue gets buried beneath layers of speculation. For Drake, that's likely the biggest challenge. Even if he says nothing, the story continues growing. If he responds, the story gets even bigger. It's the classic celebrity dilemma. Ignore it and people think you're bothered. Address it and people say you gave it energy. Either way, the conversation keeps moving. And that's exactly why some fans believe Drake is simply watching from a distance, allowing everyone else to talk while he stays focused on bigger priorities. But if there's one person who could change that strategy overnight, it's 50 Cent. Because 50 has a history of turning small situations into massive stories. And the internet is now wondering whether he's finished trolling, or whether he's just getting started. At the center of this entire situation sits one question that nobody seems able to answer. Is 50 Cent actually taking a side? Or is he simply doing what 50 Cent has always done, having fun with the chaos? If you've followed 50's career, you already know why fans are divided. Few people in hip-hop understand internet culture better than he does. Long before social media became the center of entertainment news, 50 realized that attention is currency. He knows exactly how to create conversation without directly saying anything controversial. That's why some fans believe his Sauce Walka post was completely innocent. The song is literally called Baby Mama Drama. 50 has spent years publicly dealing with his own baby mama situations. He's joked about them. talked about them, turned them into memes, turned them into content. So from that perspective, it makes perfect sense that he'd enjoy a record centered around a topic he's personally experienced. But then there's the other side of the argument. The side that says 50 knows exactly what he's doing. Critics point out that 50 didn't just randomly discover a song. He posted himself listening to a record that was already generating headlines because of its alleged references to Drake. He knew people would connect those dots immediately. He knew blogs would pick it up. He knew social media would start debating his intentions. And that's why some people think the post wasn't accidental at all. Not necessarily a diss. Not necessarily an attack. But definitely calculated. After all, 50 has built an entire second career around understanding how public reactions work. He knows how to push buttons without appearing aggressive. He knows how to create tension without directly entering a conflict. Most importantly, he knows how to keep people talking. That's what makes him so dangerous in situations like this. Because unlike other rappers, 50 doesn't always need a direct confrontation. Sometimes a repost is enough. Sometimes a caption is enough. Sometimes simply laughing at the right moment creates more headlines than a diss track ever could. Fans started bringing up past examples almost immediately. They pointed to situations where 50 appeared to be joking, only for the joke to become a weeks-long story. Others argued that this was no different. To them, he wasn't trying to hurt Drake. He was simply entertaining himself, while the internet did the rest of the work. And honestly, that theory might be the most believable one. Because if there's one thing 50 enjoys more than conflict, it's watching other people argue about conflict. Meanwhile, Sauce Walka appears more than happy to keep feeding the narrative. Every repost, every interview, every comment keeps the spotlight focused on the situation. And as long as people continue debating Drake's involvement, the song continues gaining attention. Which means everybody benefits. Sauce gets streams. 50 gets engagement. Blogs get content. Fans get drama. The only person remaining completely silent is Drake. And according to many observers, that's what makes the next chapter so interesting. Because eventually, every viral story reaches a point where someone decides whether to respond or move on. And right now, everyone is waiting to see which option Drake chooses. After days of non-stop discussion, reposts, reaction videos, and social media debates, the biggest question remains unanswered. Will Drake respond? Or will he do what he's done many times before and simply let the internet burn itself out? That's the question everyone is asking right now. Because despite all the headlines connecting his name to the controversy, Drake has remained completely silent. No interviews. No tweets. No cryptic Instagram stories. Nothing. And according to many fans, that silence is probably intentional. Drake understands something that many artists don't. Not every situation deserves a response. Sometimes responding gives a story more life than it would have had otherwise. Sometimes the best strategy is letting people talk until they run out of things to say. The problem is that this situation keeps evolving. What started as comments from Sauce Walka's Baby Mama became a song. The song became a viral conversation. The viral conversation attracted 50 Cent. Then Sauce Walka started campaigning for a remix. Now fans are debating industry loyalty and possible alliances. The story keeps growing even though Drake hasn't said a single word. That's why some observers believe he may eventually be forced to acknowledge it, even if only indirectly. Not because the situation threatens him, but because the internet refuses to let it die. Then again, Drake has survived much bigger controversies. He's survived rap beefs with some of the biggest names in music. He's survived diss records, internet jokes, and months of criticism. Compared to those battles, this may not even register as a major concern. In fact, some fans believe Drake is probably laughing at the entire situation. Think about it. A song gets released. People argue online. 50 Cent posts himself enjoying it. The blogs go crazy. And suddenly everyone expects Drake to jump into the middle of baby mama drama that isn't even directly his. From that perspective, staying silent makes perfect sense. But here's where things get interesting. If 50 actually decides to take things further, the dynamic changes completely. A repost is one thing. A remix is something else entirely. Because once 50 officially attaches himself to a record, it stops being internet gossip and starts becoming a hip-hop story. That's why fans are watching his next move so closely. Will he keep joking about it? Will he ignore the attention? Or will he do what he's done countless times throughout his career and turn a small controversy into a major spectacle? Nobody knows. And that's exactly why people can't stop talking about it. For now, Sauce Walka appears determined to keep the momentum going. 50 appears entertained. The internet appears obsessed. And Drake appears completely unbothered. At least publicly. Whether that changes remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. This entire situation